Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
This is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
It's never a bad thing to check in on your friends. However, when someone keeps asking, "How you doing?" you stop thinking everything's okay and start questioning if you've stumbled into an intervention. The only answer may be a deep dive into the abyss and a pulse check to see if Norbit is not that bad. Welcome one and all to It's Not That Bad, the podcast that looks for A grades in B movies and a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Hello to all of our viewers in Santa Clara, California, and around the world. So when I take a look at comedic actors that I kind of grew up watching, Eddie Murphy has to be high on the list of guys who know how to make you go, ha-ha. And then the 2000s hit, and the haha kind of stopped a little bit. But we're going to see if we can actually find a little bit of haha in this 2000s movie. We're talking about Norbit. And here to join us, Alex Leal, making his first visit to the show. Alex, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. And I'm good. I'm actually excited to talk about this movie because I actually watched this movie as a kid. And I just recently rewatched it, so I definitely have some thoughts.
I'm not going to lie. This was a very first watch for me, and I wasn't quite sure what I was getting into. And as I was watching the film, and you get to the first 10 minutes of exposition as to the backstory of this, I'm like, oh my God, is this a movie or a documentary? I'm starting to question. But watching this film growing up, and then clearly rewatching it for the show, has your opinion at all changed from when you were watching this film originally?
To be honest, yes, because there are some good things in the movie that I can say wholeheartedly lands for me, but the movie itself is still not that great for me.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack from this film. But before we go down this road, it is time to take Norbit and trailerize it.
In the small town of Boiling Springs, trouble comes in very, very large sizes. Enter Norbit, a meek, weak geek with a weird way to speak. He's stuck in a loveless, hopeless marriage where his very life is in danger every time his wife is in the mood. But when his childhood sweetheart comes to town, everything comes crashing down. Eddie Murphy stars in a movie so self-centered, so self-driven, and so wrong that it forces us to witness a man screw himself. And you thought Loki was narcissistic. It's a movie that will make you wonder how Eddie Murphy won a Golden Globe, how Tandaway Newton won an Emmy, and how Cuba Gooding Jr. won an Oscar, and how this movie even got made. Norbit, rated PG-13 for prosthetic girth.
my God.
Yeah, I have to reiterate that this film stars a Golden Globe winner, an Emmy winner, and an Oscar winner. The what? In Norbit. I'm shocked. I am very, very ridiculously shocked. The funny thing is, too, as I'm watching this, and fans of 30 Rock will probably get a kick out of this. I don't know all the movies that Tracy Jordan in 30 Rock was supposed to have done. I don't know if that's making more fun of Tyler Perry or making fun of Eddie Murphy movies around this time, because there's a lot to unpack out of, well, both of those. But still, there's a lot here. And strap in, because there is a lot to talk about with this one. But let's get into who is in this film. The movie stars Eddie Murphy, Tandaway Newton, Terry Crews, Cuba Gooding Jr., Eddie Griffin, Cat Williams, Clifton Powell, and Lester Spate. It was directed by Brian Robbins, who previous to this had directed Good Burger, Ready to Rumble, and Varsity Blues. And I gotta tell you right now, one of those films is on my list for wanting to do on It's Not That Bad, because Ready to Rumble is freaking awesome. I don't care what anyone says. That one was way too much fun. Surprisingly, or not surprisingly, there are some accolades for this film. The surprising part might be that there are some good accolades for this film. At the 2008 Oscars, it was nominated for Best Makeup, lost to Le'Veon Rose. And, you know, that nomination is actually worth it, because if you're watching this film and you're watching one of the Eddie Murphy characters, really, he kind of disappears into the makeup and the prosthetics, and it is surprisingly well done. So, you know, kudos where kudos are deserved. It's definitely one good thing to say about this. At the 2007 BET Awards, Eddie Murphy was nominated for Best Actor for this and Dreamgirls, more likely mostly for Dreamgirls, lost to Forrest Whitaker for The Last King of Scotland. And at the 2008 Kids' Choice Awards, he was nominated for Fave Male Movie Star, lost to Johnny Depp for Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Now, this is the Kids' Choice Awards, so I'm willing to give that one a pass. But then there's movies, or at least awards, on the other side of things. At the 2007 Golden Schmoes Awards, it was nominated for Worst Movie of the Year, lost to Epic Movie. At the 2007 Women Film Critics Circle Awards, this movie won for Most Offensive Male Character and won a spot in the Hall of Shame. It also won a spot in the Hall of Shame at the 2007 Alliance of Women Film Journalists Awards. At the 2007 Oklahoma Film Critics Circle Awards, it won for quote-unquote obviously worst film. And then the categories, or at least the awards that we tend to lean on a lot, at the 28th Razzie Awards, it was nominated for Worst Picture, lost to I Know Who Killed Me. Nominated for Worst Screen Couple for Eddie Murphy and either Eddie Murphy or Eddie Murphy, lost to Lindsay Lohan and Lindsay Lohan for I Know Who Killed Me. Brian Robbins was nominated for Worst Director, lost to Chris Everson for I Know Who Killed Me. Are you seeing a pattern here, people? It was also nominated for Worst Screenplay, lost to, repeat after me, I Know Who Killed Me. But Eddie Murphy won for Worst Actor, Worst Supporting Actress, and Worst Supporting Actor. So, of the 4 acting awards at the Razzies, Eddie Murphy took 3 of them. By the way, guess who won Worst Actress? Lindsay Lohan for I Know Who Killed Me. Which is baffling. Not the Lindsay Lohan part, not the fact that Eddie Murphy won those awards, but this is the same year that he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars. So he pulled the Ana de Armas, being nominated for an Oscar and a Razzie in the same year. Whew. But still made bank somehow. The film had a budget of $60 million. Domestically, it made $95 million, and worldwide made $159 million. When it was released on the February 9th, 2007 weekend, which makes this, dear God, a Valentine's Day release. This is a Valentine's Day release film. It was number one at the box office, and it wasn't even close. It debuted with $34 million. In second place was Hannibal Rising with only $13 million. First of all, who the hell releases Hannibal Rising on Valentine's Day weekend? Secondly, who the hell releases Norbit on Valentine's Day weekend? Because feels like, at least the start of the movie feels like the opposite of a Valentine's Day movie. You gotta be real hurting to go, honey, what a better way to celebrate Valentine's Day than to go to the theaters and either watch a serial killer or the worst relationship in movie history, at least in 2007. Dear God. For reals? Now, Alex, I'm going to ask you, obviously, when you were watching this, probably at home on DVD yes. or on the streaming services or whatever the case may be, but if you're asking someone to the theaters for a Valentine's Day weekend movie, how fast are you getting shut down if these are the two options available?
I would probably get ghosted quick.
Right? You would be better off going for the number 5 film that week, the 8th week of Night at the Museum. I mean, at least that one's fun. I'll give that one credit, but 2007 Valentine's Day sucked at the theaters. But the reason why we are here, of course, are the critics. Over at Rotten Tomatoes, the film has a popcorn meter, or an audience score, of 53%. The tomatometer, single digits, y'all, 9% critic score, tomatometer. I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. But
me neither.
If I'm asking you, 9 or 53, where does this sit for you?
I would say for me, probably like a 40.
Okay, so fair enough. Fair enough. By the way, I want to put this into perspective here. We mentioned the Lindsay Lohan epic, I Know Who Killed Me, also released in 2007 and did a pretty damn good job of cleaning up at the Razzies. Also has a 9% tomatometer. But in fairness, the popcorn meter sits at 26% for I Know Who Killed Me. So Norbit slays with the audiences. And it's not just at Rotten Tomatoes. At Metacritic, the film has a Metascore of 27. So, At IMDb, it has 4.2 stars for a 42% score. At Letterboxd, sits at 2.0 stars for a 40% average. And at the movie database, it sits at 57%. So they're a little bit more lenient over there, giving this film an aggravated aggregate of 38%. So when you said 40, you're actually pretty close to the aggravated aggregate. So clearly, Alex, we're going to you for all of our math purposes today.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And now I already have a movie to watch in I Know Who Killed Me.
Really? You want to do that to yourself?
Yes, I most definitely do.
Oh, dear God. Well, I guess we know what you're coming back with on the show later on.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary. and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
But let's get to the breakdown of this film. And we start with Eddie Murphy, who played Norbit, Rasputia, however you want to pronounce that, and Mr. Wong. So this is another one of those films, much like The Nutty Professor, where Eddie Murphy saved on the casting budget and played everybody. Your thoughts of him in all three of these roles, and you can feel differently about the different roles.
Okay. So earlier on with Rasputia for him, I was getting very annoyed. Absolutely. I hated him as Rasputia, to be honest. His best one was probably Mr. Wong. I loved that he was just racist and funny. He would make stupid remarks. Even the whale blowhole, I was like, I'm sorry, what? Where did this come from?
Okay, so let me explain, dear listeners. And by the way, if you have not seen Norbit yet, we're going to be talking about this film, and there will more than likely be some spoilers dropped. So you're welcome. You don't have to watch it. We've done it for you. Mr. Wong, the fact that you actually have Norbit say to him, that's pretty racist. They knew exactly what they were doing with Mr. Wong. And I don't know if that's good or not. Like, if you have a character call it out in the script and actually call the character, like, put it right out on Front Street as saying it from someone else, does that make it better? Because as I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, he can't say that. Oh, there's no, like, right off the bat, I'm like, oh, you wrote that on paper and made someone say it? And then eventually there's that scene where Norman's like, that's really racist. And he's like, yeah, I am racist. And it's like, I don't know if that makes it better or not.
I just feel like his character, Mr. Wong's character, didn't change. If it did change drastically for me, I would have been like, okay, yeah, no, this wouldn't have worked. But if like he stayed the same throughout the whole movie, I think it suits it better. If he did change, then I'd be like, okay, no, I hated him.
Yeah. I mean, you go back to a film like Coming to America, and yes, between Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall playing the different roles in the barbershop, and they got to play with a bunch of different stereotypes and whatnot. And stereotypes are one thing. You took Mr. Wong and you turned him straight freaking racist. And I don't know if it's racist to even do that or not. Like, there is so much wrong with this character, but they say that the character is wrong. So it does, maybe a little bit takes it out of the equation. I mean, it's not like they're doing a dramatic film. You know, this isn't the sordid tale of a young man drawn to, no, this is not. It's freaking Eddie Murphy playing three different roles. Rasputia, oh dear God.
There's a lot of problems.
This is the Kirkland brand version of what people think. I don't even know where they come up with this character. Like, really? Is there someone in someone's past that made them create this character so horrendously horrible without a single redeeming factor at all? And I understand that we're not supposed to like Rasputia. We're not. She's supposed to be the one we don't want Norbert to be with.
Mm-hmm.
But you made her horrible. Like, just straight up horrible. There's no question why this film ended up in the Alliance of Women Film Journalists Hall of Frickin' Shame. Rightfully so. Like, this takes every single almost misogynistic thought of, how should we say, strong women, takes it to the extreme, turns it to 11, which is what more
Yeah.
than 10, makes the character extraordinarily large through prosthetics. It is the worst aspects of every single negative connotation that really, because this film was written by Eddie Murphy and his brother Charlie. It is so, Rasputia is such a misogynistic character from a male point of view that for some reason it actually makes Mr. Wong look better. And that's not a good thing.
That's what makes it sad.
I mean, Norbit as a character, okay, little geeky, little weird, little, I don't know where that inspiration came from, but it's like Norbit is the least offensive of the three characters that Eddie Murphy has played. And watching The Nutty Professor, like, yes, these are larger than life characters, and I mean that in every possible aspect of the word, but they weren't bad caricatures of people. It was fun. It was light. It still felt like more like a family-friendly film. This ain't family-friendly.
Oh, absolutely not.
I mean, unless your family is going to Hannibal Rising on Valentine's Day, maybe then it's family-friendly. But at that point, you have other problems. But I mean, like, of the three characters, what was Eddie Murphy thinking?
I have no idea. How do you go from such a great... I don't even know if Nutty Professor is any good on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes, but I loved it. I absolutely loved his charm in that movie, and him just like battling between like two different opinions or two different views. And then you go into this where it's just a whole bunch of woof.
Yeah. I mean, I will give Eddie Murphy all the credit for being able to play multiple characters on screen at the same time. The plotting out of those scenes, the acting of the different scenes, and having to change your character every time you're doing a different part. Like, there's a lot of technical proficiency in the directing of those scenes and the acting of Eddie Murphy, and really being able to handle that in a level that's only equaled by Tatiana Maslany in Orphan Black. But that's where I have to sit there and go, and that's where it ends for Eddie Murphy. Nutty Professor did it. Perfect. Great. No problem. Coming to America? Awesome. Love that film. It's hilarious. This? From a technical standpoint, okay. Good job doing the acting for those scenes. The characters are horrible. And I think this falls more on the writing than it does on the acting.
Yeah, completely agree. I want to ask, was the Dave movie that he made, that one about him coming from like space or something and it was a bunch of little aliens, was that after?
So Meet Dave actually came out the year after this film. So you have two films in a row that you're just like, maybe go back to voicing Donkey.
Yes, please.
You were good at Donkey. You were good at Donkey.
And he's already supposed to be going back to Donkey.
Right?
Because Shrek 5 is supposed to come out.
I mean, you take a look at Norbit, and it's almost like the sanitized version of his character in Bowfinger. And, I mean, Bowfinger was well received, but I'm watching this film, and I'm just like, I need to apologize for every bad thing I said about The Adventures of Pluto Nash. This film was worse than The Adventures of Pluto Nash. I could find things to say about Eddie Murphy that were good in The Adventures of Pluto Nash. Whew. But then you get Tandaway Newton, who played Kate Thomas. Emmy-winning Tandaway Newton. Your thoughts?
Okay. Throughout the whole movie itself, I thought she was great at the beginning of the movie. It actually felt like Eddie Murphy, like Norbit and her had chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I will admit that. But towards the end, it felt so forced for them to get together. it felt way too forced, and it didn't feel right to me. And how they kind of broke up with like the letter and everything was so weird to me.
I can't really blame Tandaway Newton on the way or how her character and how the progression of her character goes. Because again, that falls onto the writing, and that falls squarely on the shoulders of Eddie and Charlie Murphy. The thing with Tandaway Newton is that I love when you have actors who are primarily known for taking harder roles. And when I say hard, I don't mean like, oh, it's really hard to say these things. No. Some of the roles that some of these actors take on are really an emotional weight. And the year prior to this, she was actually in The Pursuit of Happiness. And while that was probably more of an emotional weight on Will Smith, that's still quite the role. But I mean, like, here's an actress who's probably best known, at least lately, for being in Westworld. And that show has a ton of, like, you know, heavy themes to it. And prior to that, of course, she was in Solo, a Star Wars story. So that's awesome. Gotta love that. Reminiscence, you know, it's a little bit darker, but there's that. 2012, I mean, that's just, everyone loves a good disaster film. That's just fun. You know, but she's known for taking on some stronger roles. And here she's having a ton of fun. This looks like really just a fun day at the park for her. And you kind of enjoy seeing someone just being able to be in a light role.
She feels like she's being herself in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
She feels like she can do what she wants to do. It was just the last couple of minutes where it was forced for them to get married just did not work for me.
Yeah.
But that's on the writing itself.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, she plays the character well, as in someone you would reasonably expect to go back to her hometown, to buy the orphanage, to look after the kids, you know, to reconnect with Norbit. Like, Kate Thomas is just an absolute bright, shining light of a character. And Tandaway Newton really, really brought that to life, really brought that light to the screen. I mean, it's hard not to shine when you're up against Rasputia. And I'm not talking from a size thing. I'm talking from a personality thing. Like, Rasputia is a absolutely horrible character that you are not supposed to like in the first place. So, kudos. But Tandaway Newton, as Kate Thomas, made you really like Kate Thomas. And it doesn't hurt that Norbit's kind of a likable character, kind of goofy, kind of fun, not offensive, not stupid. Norbit's not stupid. He's just that guy who has absolutely zero freaking self-esteem. Really, the only reason he's in this marriage is because he got told he's getting married, and there are 3 big brothers that tell him he's not getting out of the marriage. To see Norbit with Kate, that they actually had a lot of good chemistry prior to the discount Mrs. Robinson scene at the end, where everyone's trying to break up the marriage, and everyone's got a plan to break up that marriage, but yeah.
It's still very strange that everyone was like, okay, let's just stop the marriage by singing a song about love and a bunch of other things during that whole scene.
Although I will say, after that, when Norbit busts in and the choir goes, Norbit, I'm like, yes, that is great. That's awesome. Yeah. That was funny. That was classic. I got a good chuckle out of that. And I guess, you know, we're getting to the writing for a second here. A lot of the jokes in this film fell flat. And I recognize that I'm watching this film in 2024 at the certain vintage that I'm at. And as I watch this, I'm like, you know what? If I was younger, maybe I'd find this a little bit funnier, but I don't. Like, some of the jokes just really, I'm like, oh, that's so old. there are some parts where it's like, even though you can see it a mile away, they're still funny when they happen. Like the water slide scene where Rasputia is like, just goes right through the wall, lands in the other kiddie pool, and knocks all the water out of it. I'm just like, okay, I knew that was going to happen, but it was still funny.
But she did not need to say, "How you doing?" She did not need to say that.
Oh my God, this is a Joey from Friends level of trying to, they're trying to make fetch happen with this catchphrase, and no, just no.
Like, there was no need. Like, you ruined the joke by saying that.
Someone needs to take this film and go back and forth between Rasputia and Joey from Friends. Let's go, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? If someone makes that supercut and puts it on YouTube, please reach out to me on social media at Not That Badcast, or go to our website at notthatbadcast.com, and I will happily put that video on this episode page, and I will watch it. See, that I will laugh at in a weird, demented Stockholm Syndrome kind of way, but that would be funny. Maybe I need to do that myself.
It would. Oh my God.
Cuba Gooding Jr., who played Dion, Kate's fiance. Let me rephrase this. Oscar-winning actor Cuba Gooding Jr., who played Dion, Kate's fiance. Your thoughts?
Where do I start? Is the question. So, I thought he was okay at the beginning, but then there was the big reveal about him. Oh, I'm just here just to basically sleep with her and then leave. And he has 3 other wives on the side and has kids too. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what now? I think he was free to do whatever he wanted, but it was still not right.
I mean, what happened to Cuba Gooding Jr.? What freaking happened to Cuba Gooding Jr.? I mean, he steals the movie in Jerry Maguire. Really can paint the town red. He can do whatever he wants after this. And that's not to mention the fact that the year prior he was in the Tuskegee Airmen. He had an uncredited role in Blown Away, which is a fantastic film. A Murder of Crows, fantastic film. I'll even give Pearl Harbor a pass. It's okay. It's okay. But then there was this stretch where it's almost like he was trying to play against type. Like he was trying to take that good guy image and go, I can't keep playing nice guys. So he takes these, for lack of a better term, scumbag roles. And I understand wanting to branch out. I do. I get it. You don't want to be the same character over and over and over and over again. And it's fun at times. There's a small cameo for him as El Chameleon in Machete Kills. That's fun. Because that's, you're basically playing someone else who's playing you. And that's a good chuckle. I like that. This role, like the minute he turns, and I agree with you, when he was just the nice guy who was, engaged to Kate, it was a hurdle. Okay. But the movie is called Norbit. It's not called Dion. Norbit's going to get the girl.
Yep.
So
it's a Valentine's Day movie anyway. It's a Valentine's Day movie anyway. It has to be Norbit.
Yeah. How this is a Valentine's Day movie, I have no idea. But still, the minute his character turns and all of a sudden you're like, oh, you're a person, aren't you? All of a sudden you lose any caring for Cuba Gooding Jr. Even when he gets his comeuppance and here come out the wives and all the kids, and it's like,
It was going to happen regardless. I think the only funny part that I loved with him was when it was the music scene and he was just sitting on the pew being like, okay, can this be done already?
Yeah, that was fun. Because again, that scene, as much as you're not a big fan of the writing of that scene and all the, oh, by the way, it was still, there were great moments in that scene. And he was part of that. The fact that he's just sitting there while everyone else is dancing, like, yeah, I enjoyed that. But I think if they had made it where take out the fact that he's a womanizer, take out the fact that he's really just into her for getting into her, make it more that it's just about the deal, the business deal. And then he's not as bad a character. He's just putting career over her. And it still doesn't make him a great character, but it makes him less of a sleazeball and takes some of the shoulder shrugging out of the reveal. Not everyone has to be the absolute worst character in the film, Eddie Murphy and Charlie Murphy. You don't have to make horrible people around, because really, aside from Kate, this is the town full of the worst people in history. It's like they went to different towns and said, give us your and we'll bring them over to here. We got a home for them.
You would just love to go straight up to Eddie Murphy and Charlie Murphy, slap them across the face, and be like, why did you do this movie?
No. We don't slap them. We're not going to Will Smith this. We're just going to, sit there and just go, why? Just why? Terry Crews, who played Big Black Jack Lattimore. I mean, he's Terry Crews, so what's not to like? But your thoughts?
There's interesting things with his character. I think it's just that his role is always, he's always the strong guy that needs to be the protector. But then towards the end, when it's like the whole town is against him, he's like, nope, I'm getting out of here. But his role, I think it gets very repetitive at times, especially after like him coming off. I don't know if this was before White Chicks came out or if it was after.
This came out after. White Chicks actually came out in 2004.
Okay. So, yeah, his role is always the same in most of the movies. And don't get me wrong, I love Terry Crews. I even watch America's Got Talent because he's now the host, and I actually think he's funny with his comedic timing. But it gets repetitive with all the roles that he plays.
I mean, when you take a look at this stretch from 2006 to 2007, I mean, Terry Crews has some fantastic comedic chops. Idiocracy, which is literally, well, it's 2024 on film. That's what it is. Balls of Fury, fantastic. Get Smart, loved him in Get Smart. Get Smart is just so much fun. Even The Expendables, which came out in 2010, say what you will about the Expendables franchise, and there is lots to say about the Expendables franchise, and we've actually talked about the fourth one, Expendables, on a previous episode of Grading on a Curve, but still Terry Crews shines whenever he's on screen because he is that likable guy. And sometimes when you hire someone to take on a role, it's almost like you know exactly who you should have in that role. This role feels like it was written for Terry Crews, so you're going to let Terry Crews all over the place, which is never a bad thing because he is that likable a guy. Imagine, if you will, getting Terry Crews and we're like, no. We want you to emote. No, you let him be Terry Crews, at least in a comedy.
Anything else? No.
Yeah. I mean,
he's especially perfect in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Him in Brooklyn Nine-Nine his comedy is great in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
But again, that plays on the very essence of Terry Crews. I mean, the character's name is Terry. I mean, it's almost like it was probably written for him because he is that fun guy. And don't get in the way of that. Don't try to take away what makes him so damn good on screen. You give him the good lines, you let him do his thing, and you walk away. And that's what they did with this. And I'm fine with that. Let Terry Crews, and that works. Lester Spate, Clifton Powell as Blue, and Earl Lattimore as the other brothers. I mean, they're kind of there. They're big guys. It's kind of like in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Terry's the little brother of the family. Here, he's the smart brother of the family.
Yeah. He's the main guy. The others are just, they exist.
Yeah. And sometimes that's all you need a character to do is just exist. And that's exactly what they did. Don't get in the way. Let Terry Crews carry the ball. You're good. Eddie Griffin and Cat Williams, who played Pope, Sweet Jesus, and Lord Have Mercy, couple of pimps in this town. What is with this town? Like, is everyone supposed to be crappy in this town? But they're pimps with a heart of gold? Your thoughts on Pope, Sweet Jesus, and Lord Have Mercy?
I'm sorry. I love them. I absolutely love them. They were a joy to watch on screen. They were hilarious every time they were on screen. I love that they were always trying to help Norbit to try being a better person. I guess try to look a lot more better in front of Kate. And even they were like, yeah, she wants to be with you, and they already knew that Kate wanted to just be with Norbit. So, and he was always playing it down. I thought they were just gems to watch. Even though I did not like the final music scene, they were a joy to watch, just going ham on the dancing and everything.
I mean, actually, I kind of like them in that scene. Obviously, they're the ones who instigate the whole thing, and the fact that they have some weird commercial for their pimpdom going on in the middle of it, which that was funny. But when you take a look at duos like this, and I can't believe I'm going to be referencing Shakespeare in an episode about Norbit, but here we go. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. This is what you get when you have these two kind of characters. To take it away from Shakespeare, they're Statler and Waldorf from The Muppet Show. They are Bob and Doug McKenzie for all of our Canadian listeners. They are the duo that are on the side, that are going to say the things that need to be said. They're going to do the things that need to be done. And they're funny when they do it. They are literally Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. I can't believe I just referenced Shakespeare in this episode. But you're right. The fact that these two guys, despite the fact that the Lattimores quote unquote run the town, which how is no one narking on Norbit if the Lattimores run the town? Huh? Oh, well.
Even I don't get it.
And it's kind of like the big dog, little dog, right? Because Eddie Griffin is definitely the one running the show. And Cat Williams is that whatever you say, boss, whatever you say, boss, whatever you say. That kind of Looney Tunes kind of duo. But I like the dynamic between the two. I like the fact that they pimp Norbit out, but just enough so it's not awkward. You know, they are helping him. They are actually doing good. They see the good. Because everyone's freaking scared of Rasputia. No one wants that. The fact that they're like, oh, dear God, no. When they're at the wedding, I love that aspect of them. I thought they brought a lot to this movie.
It was probably them or Tandy Newton that stole the show for me.
Yeah. I mean, there are some good aspects and good acting in this. I think you just mentioned three of the best ones. But Marlon Wayans, who played Buster Busta Move Birkin, here's a character.
Where do I start with this one? I have no words. I did not like him at all in this movie.
I mean, he kind of feels like a Saturday Night Live character. He feels like an In Living Color character. And in a 3-minute sketch, I'm all about Bust a Move Perkins. That's great. In a 3-minute sketch, that works. And the thing is, we don't get much more than that out of him. It's like, we see him teaching the class. We see Rasputia going, I need me one of them private lessons. And then we see the moment where she cheats on him. And then we get like one more appearance. And that's it.
Yeah.
That is it. You have Marlon freaking Wayans with a character that is a little outlandish, a little out there, but again, we're talking about Norbit, so anything goes. And you barely use him. Okay. I'm going to say this as well. This film has a criminal underusage of Kristen Schaal. She's in like one scene. Part of me wishes that you had one of those where are they now kind of montages during the credits. Like just little scenes. Because I mean, like Kristen Schaal was hilarious in her scene. She's a freaking funny actress. And you used her in one scene, gave her one funny line, and that's it. Let's see her again. Let's see her working for Pope Sweet Jesus and Lord Have Mercy in the credits. And it doesn't have to be much. Like put that in a post-credit scene or put that during the little montage. Let's see some more of that Bust a Move Perkins workout video during the montage, because that was funny when they went back to one of the brothers trying to make, keep an eye on Norbit. That was funny. Let's see some more of that, because you have all these different characters that we meet and we never get to hear from again. Put them in the credits. That would be funny as hell.
I think the only funny thing from Marlon was his last little bit before exiting the movie itself, where he was about to go with Rasputia and he was trying to pray to the Lord to not die or anything.
Right. I mean, show him in the hospital with Rasputia induced injuries, recovering. Do something. Just something. This movie was released in 2007. It's now 2024, 14 years later. And the jokes, some of them, they haven't aged well at all. So I ask you, to someone considering watching this film in the year of our podcast, 2024, how prepared to be offended should one be going into this film?
Are we going off of ratings? Based on...
I'm not talking about ratings. I'm talking about just improper, just not right kind of attitudes for this film.
I would say they're not ready. It is very, very offensive.
At the end of the day, it's a comedy. At the end of the day, it's a stupid ass comedy, but it's still a comedy nevertheless. Mr. Wong is so wrong that it's kind of like the minute you recognize what this character is, and he's a lovable idiot, because he cares about Norbit, he cares about Kate. Just know that he's going to be the guy that says things, and everyone knows someone that the minute they open their mouth and say something, you're gonna be like, oh dear God, I'm so sorry for him. Please, dear God, don't judge me by them. Everyone knows that someone. And Mr. Wong kind of is that. Just go in knowing that this movie is not trying to change the world. If you like slapsticky humor, there's some of that in here for you. If you don't mind turning your brain off for an hour and a half, there's some good in here. There's some fun moments. Is this a film that anyone should put on their, filmography when they're looking for work? Probably not.
Absolutely not.
But it's not horrible. And that's not the worst film I've seen by any stretch of the imagination, because we've covered the Garbage Pail Kids movie on this show, and dear God, I survived through that one, so I can survive through anything. But Norbit, it's definitely not a shining example of Eddie Murphy's comedy. And I apologize now for all the bad things I said about The Adventures of Pluto Nash. There we go. All right, Alex, it has come time. So, who is your MVP of Norbit?
Without a shadow of a doubt, Kate Thomas.
Thandaway Newton. Emmy award-winning actress. I still can't believe I'm saying that in this show.
What's insane?
Yeah, no, Thandaway Newton is fantastic in this film. And she made it really hard to pick my MVP, or more to the point, she made it really hard not to pick her as my MVP. I'm actually going with the duo of Eddie Griffin and Cat Williams, the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern of this. I mean, the fact that you have Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead just goes to show how much those characters translate beyond the original Shakespearean text. And somehow, some way, Two Pimps made this film that much more enjoyable. Alex, thank you so much for bringing this movie to the show. I should maybe not thank you for making me watch this film, but you know what? It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. Please let our listeners know where they can find you out there on the interwebs.
So you guys can find me on Instagram at LEALA 2026. And also on my email by leala5252@gmail.com.
All right. Alex, thank you so much for this. And dear listeners, you guys know the drill. If there is a movie out there that you think is unfairly maligned, or there is no way in Boiling Springs that we could find anything good to say about it, hit us up on social media at NotThatBadCast, or drop us a line, say how you doing at our website, notthatbadcast.com. And while you're there, make sure you check out our music show, There Can Only Be One, if you like music. Until next time, he's Alex, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is It's Not That Bad, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.